There is some good PC gaming news to get to coming out of Computex, and we will talk about it. However, it's very clear that Nvidia's CEO is not interested in being seen as the CEO of a gaming-related company. He is the CEO of an AI data center company, and because this entire 2-hour-long presentation, which, okay, I knew it would be mostly AI focused, I understand that, but I thought we'd at least get some mention of their gaming products, but no, not a single thing. And Nvidia did release information about their gaming side of their business at Computex, and we'll get to that. But the fact that a 2-hour-long keynote couldn't fit in a single word about their gaming products really just shows that Nvidia is very focused on AI right now, and it almost feels like they are embarrassed to be associated with gaming as well. However, that doesn't mean I think they're going to give up on the gaming side of their business. They have leadership in a big market. It is a multi-billion-dollar market. However, it's just a drop in the bucket compared to what they can make on AI right now. So, I don't think they're going to just give up on the gaming side of things, as I see some people posting online, but it is very clear where their focus is right now. And I mean, if you follow the money, it's obvious why. But anyway, so if you're interested in things like Earth 2, then you can take a look at this 2-hour-long keynote from the Nvidia CEO, but don't expect to get any information about anything gaming PC related. Now, AMD's keynote was also very AI focused. However, they did at least mention a few products that might be interesting to people in PC gaming space, which would be my audience. So let's take a bit of a look at that. We did get a look into the Ryzen 9000 series Zen 5 desktop CPUs, and to be honest, there's nothing particularly, unexpected here. Basically, the names are what you would expect them to be, and they have the same amount of cores as we always expect. So their top end is 16-core 32-thread. They have a 12-core 24-thread version as well, followed by an 8-core 16-thread version and a 6-core 12-thread version. I would like if they'd get back to having Ryzen 3s for the budget segment, but it looks like they'll probably use the previous generation products to function as the lower end. That'd be my guess here. If you look at the clock speeds, they're not much different than what we saw in the 8000 series of processors. So really any performance uplift we'd really be expecting to get here is from the IPC improvements. So AMD does have some first-party slides talking about that, so you have to take that for what it is. But they are claiming overall a 16% IPC uplift versus their previous generation. So nothing absolutely mind-blowing, but it is an improvement. Honestly, a 16% IPC uplift in and of itself is nothing, out of the ordinary. We can see here in this videocards.com article a look at like the Zen 2 boost, over Zen Plus, which was 15%, Zen 3 going up at 19% IPC, Zen 4 13%, now Zen 5 going 16%. The difference is that we're not also getting clock speed boosts in any meaningful way to go along with this, at least if we take a look at, what they're publishing as the max boost clocks. So anyway, there's that. Also, we do see the power draw targets. The TDPs seem to be more in line with the non-X versions from the 7000 series, which I like because I think that they were pushing a little too hard to get those last few percent of performance. But anyway, so there's this, and they're coming out in July, apparently. So there's that. Now, also, we would have the motherboards to go along with this. Again, this looks like more like a bit of a minor update. There are some new things, and they'll be skipping the 700 series, probably to stay in line with Intel's naming scheme. So these will be the 800 series motherboards. So they will have USB 4.0, a standard on all X870 and X70E motherboards. There'll be PCIe Gen 5 on graphics and NVMe on all X870 and X70E motherboards. And they're advertising higher memory clocking ability. So there's that. Now, it's interesting that they also talk about the longevity of the platform, because they're advertising that they are still releasing products for the previous generation AM4 platform. They even announced a couple more in this keynote. So they're still releasing products for AM4, and they're extending their promise for AM5 up through 2027 plus. What's unclear, though, is what they mean by that, because yeah, they're still releasing AM4 products, but they're not really new high-end chips. So what does this 2027 plus mean on AM5 support? Is that just they'll continue releasing, tweaked versions of stuff they already have up through that point, or they'll actually be getting, Zen 6? So we'll have to see what comes of it, but they do seem to be understanding that gamers are really liking the longevity of their platform as a selling point, and that you can get multiple upgrades on the motherboard platform. So still, there's no absolute commitment to Zen 6 being on AM5. Notice there's no Zen 6 on there. So anyway, now part of that could just be that they don't want to say that Zen 6 is coming out, because this would be, they're trying to announce Zen 5, not Zen 6 today. Anyway, we'll have to see what comes of it. They did also introduce some new APUs, and they did, as rumored, rebrand them as Ryzen AI 300 branding. So I don't know. I don't really care that much what things are called, but it's just annoying to have to keep track of another naming scheme and why we're jumping to 300 just to have a bigger number, better situation than Intel's 200 series. Whatever. Also, these aren't the ones I was excited about. I wanted Strix Halo, which is the one that's rumored to have 40 compute units on the GPU, just because I want to see what sort of performance you could get out of something like that. However, these don't seem like they're going to be any sort of slouch. You're getting two versions here. One of them has a 16 compute unit Radeon graphics, and the other has a 12 compute unit. This is the higher end chip here is the AI9 HX370, and the other is the Ryzen AI9 365. The higher end one being a 12-core chip, the lower model one being 10-core. However, they both have 4 Zen 5 cores. The difference is in 2 additional Zen 5C cores for the higher end chip. They're showing off some performance in gaming versus Intel's Core Ultra 185H. Again, these are first-party benchmark numbers, so I don't want to say too much about that. And honestly, at least in the Core Ultra 185H in the mini PC I've reviewed recently, their AMD's previous generation APUs were already, at least in my tests, outperforming the 185H anyway. So there's that. Again, I'm excited to see if and when we get the rumored 40 compute unit Strix Halo, but that's available now. And they're touting the AI performance of these for the Copilot PCs and all of that. Again, I'm more focused on gaming content, so I'm not going to talk too much about all of that. Now, like I said, despite NVIDIA's keynote being all about, making a digital twin of the Earth and AI stuff, that doesn't mean that at Computex they didn't talk at all about their gaming division. So if you follow up on all of that, there is some talk about some one-click auto GPU tuning, which seems like the performance tuning that they already had in their overlay. However, now they're adding it to their NVIDIA app. And it also, I'm seeing reported that they're being clear that it does not void your warranty, which I've seen a lot of people. I have a review of NVIDIA's original automatic tuning feature when it released, and a lot of the comments I get on that video are people concerned about it voiding their warranty. So I'm seeing this one being reported as being very clear that it does not void your warranty, so people will be happy to get that confirmation. Also, they're adding 120 FPS AV1 recording and I think HDR in their NVIDIA app as well, because while NVIDIA GPUs had AV1 recording available, I don't think through NVIDIA's own software it would necessarily default to using that, or you couldn't necessarily choose to use that. You'd have to use third-party programs to use AV1. So that's a good upgrade as well. Now, they're talking about their G-Assist, which I mentioned a rumor, well, kind of not really a rumor because it was from NVIDIA, but a tease of G-Assist, which was originally an April Fool's joke. years ago, but is now becoming a reality, which is basically an AI assistant. So again, even though this is gaming focused stuff, we're not going to escape the AI presentation. So this seems like an AI assistant for gaming. Now, it seems kind of cool, honestly, what it could possibly do if games are properly supporting of it. I'm seeing this WCCF Tech article where they actually got to play around with it and see the kinds of things that it could do. So you could ask it for things like your PC latency and your frame rate and graphing them over the last 2 minutes, and it produces a graph of them. It's kind of cool. You can ask it for help in your games if you want to know what crafting materials do I need for this, or what, how could I beat this boss, and it could give some hints and tips and things like that. But also they mention saying like, what if you wanted to lower the power usage of your graphics card? Say like, hey, I only want to be using 50 watts of energy right now. Set my clocks to do that. So you could have some kind of direct control over the tuning of your GPU. That actually does sound somewhat interesting. Also, they're mentioning about setting graphic settings to achieve a certain frame rate. Like saying, make your FPS never dip below 50 FPS and set a frame rate cap. So that's kind of interesting, but again, it seems like for certain features here to work properly, they would need to be integrated into the game. And it's unclear at this time, how many games might be interested in doing that and how exactly that would work. So I don't know. This is another one of those things that is kind of yet to be proved for me on how useful I would want it to, I see it being. But it could potentially be an interesting feature once we get more time to play around with it. Anyway, adding more features is fine, as long as somebody out there ends up finding them interesting. Cool. Now, NVIDIA is also making a standard. I've reported on this before about small form factor ready Enthusiast computers. Now, because they are Enthusiast class computers, apparently only RTX 4070 minimum GPUs meet the standard. But I actually kind of overall like this idea because let's say you're going to build a small form factor system. You're going to buy a case, you're going to buy a graphics card, and you want to make sure your graphics card fits in the case. Now, to be honest, it's not that hard to just check the case's supported graphics card sizes. But this could kind of dumb down the process to be as simple as they both have this NVIDIA small form factor ready sticker on them, which means this graphics card will fit in the small form factor case, and I don't need to go through the hassle of checking those details. So I see that this could be useful for some people. I think in general, for NVIDIA's side of things, it'll get their branding on more cases. Because, hey, look, this case has the NVIDIA logo on it now. So, hey, cool, more NVIDIA advertisement. Anyway, the actual specs are shown here. So basically a 2.5 slot cooler width, and that's 50 millimeters. And then you can have a 304 millimeter length, which is actually fairly long. A lot of cases actually don't, I've seen some cases like top out at 300. So anyway, but you would actually get your case confirming it can fit that length if it has this sticker on it. So I guess that's cool. And then 151 millimeter height, I guess we would call that dimension for GPUs. Anyway, whatever you call it, those are the spaces. And then for the cases would provide 312 millimeters, 154.5 millimeters, and 2.5 slots in order to fit that in. So there you go. That's kind of the spec, and if it's confirmed to meet those specs, they can get their little sticker logo on it, and the customer can be sure it works, and NVIDIA gets their logo on more things. So there's that. There's already a list of GPUs that are compatible with this standard, and cases that are compatible with this standard, so feel free to take a look at those if you're interested. ASUS has already unveiled a Prime RTX 40 GPU, which is compliant for the small form factor ready program. So ASUS is talking about that. So there you go. So again, you'll start to see this branding and logo on things. So there's that. We're also seeing Inworld and NVIDIA demonstrating on-device AI character behavior. Now, this character behavior for like, this is where like, so how does AI actually impact games themselves, right? So this push to interacting with characters that are using, large language models and text-to-speech and all that kind of stuff. Now, this has been demonstrated before, and I've reported on it before, but more of it has been moved on device as opposed to moving to the cloud. Because in my opinion, while some of this sounds like potentially interesting from a gameplay perspective, if done right, if it can't be done locally on the device, I would worry that like, okay, so is this game gonna just shut down servers in a year or less if it doesn't have a big enough player base, and then it just doesn't work, right? So I think it'd be important for this to be able to run on the local device, be able to run the game offline, that type of thing. So this seems like a move in that direction, although to be clear, despite the headline here, it's not all running on device. That seems to be the end goal, but they're not there at this point. Anyway, moving beyond the Nvidia and AMD presentations, we see ASUS showing off their ROG Ally X, which I'd reported on the leaked specs and information about this previously, and those seem to be pretty much confirmed. You can pre-order them for $799. Basically, it's the same overall processor. However, with faster memory, it can get small performance improvements. You can fit larger SSDs, and the biggest thing is a much larger battery, so overall, it seems like a nice design update. On LTT, there is a hands-on impressions video of this. And in this video, he said that he was not allowed to give performance numbers. But because of that, he just winked saying, I predict it will get such and such. And anyway, so the point is, if you want some performance details on this, the LTT video sort of has you covered for some of that. It's not, it seems like besides the battery life, it's just a lot of nice to have small updates. But as he reminds you in the video, ASUS is in a bit of trouble right now over their warranty situation and standing behind their products, and their previous ROG Ally had what seems to be a pretty serious design issue with the SD card reader that ASUS refuses to officially acknowledge. So anyway, you can dig into all of those details if you're interested in the product and decide if it's still worth it to you going with ASUS at this time. Hopefully they start getting all of this pressure and make some changes within the company and their policies. Now, in competitor products, we're seeing MSI Claw getting an 8 AI Plus version. In other words, there's going to be a new version of the MSI Claw. This one would feature an Intel Lunar Lake processor and has a Fallout theme. Now, the Lunar Lake processor is somewhat interesting in that it should have Battlemage graphics in it, XE2 graphics. So that's pretty cool. We'll have to see if the performance ends up being there, because right now, again, it seems like the Claw devices are not currently super competitive with the AMD-based APU systems, at least in the testing that I've seen. Don't have a Claw myself. Now, another big thing in the PC space right now is ARM potentially capturing some Windows market share. It's in this Reuters report, they have an exclusive where the ARM CEO is saying that their aim is to capture 50% of the PC market in 5 years, or at least that they see that that's realistic. So ARM is very bullish on this. However, that's mostly going to be in laptop form factors. However, it's not just laptop form factors. We are seeing Qualcomm talk about Snapdragon coming to all PC form factors, including desktops, although in context that seems to be more of like the all-in-one style desktop computers. So anyway, we'll have to see how it goes. So far, the gaming performance of them has yet to be proven, and I have a feeling that that's going to be something that takes a while before we'd really see that in something where you'd want to get an ARM CPU in your gaming PC. Be interesting to see if we ever get there. Anyway, I think more competition is always a good thing from my perspective, so I'm excited to see what comes of it. Now, PALIT has introduced 4 high-end GeForce RTX 40 GPU concepts, the Neptunus, the Master Link Plus, and Beyond Limit series. You can see some like water cooling going on here and all sorts of interesting stuff. So basically at Computex, you'll see a lot of things shown off. Here's some of it coming from PALIT. From Gigabyte, we're seeing, again, with that AI focus, some blower-style workstation RTX 4070 Ti Super GPUs specifically targeting AI, performance and workstation type format. So definitely a huge focus on AI at Computex right now, to the surprise of absolutely no one. But also, we're even seeing Asrock with some of their AMD graphics cards with their 7900 XTX. So these are not workstation GPUs, but targeting specifically a workstation model with the WS series, which is a blower-style cooler. And not only that, but it's moving to one of these power connectors. It doesn't have the multiple 8-pin connectors. Although, when compared with the famous, melting cables on the 4090s, this is the 12V 2x6 power connector, which I believe is the slightly updated version, which I think has a slightly better design as far as possibly not getting the overheating. I think the lengths on the sense pins have been changed, so it's less likely to still be running a lot of power when it's not fully seated. Anyway, but we're seeing that style of design for 7900 XTX GPU here, so tons of AI at Computex. Now, PlayStation VR 2 is gonna be available on PC with an official adapter starting on August 7th. We also have minimum system requirements for running the PSVR 2 on your PC, and they don't look like anything too crazy. We're seeing the CPUs being in Core i5-7600 or AMD Ryzen 3100, and at least 8 gigabytes of RAM, and your GPU should be a GTX 1650 or later, or an AMD RX 5500 XT or later. However, there's a big caveat to the how interesting the PSVR 2 will be on PC, because a lot of the cool features of the PSVR 2 do not seem like they're going to be supported on PC. Somewhere down in here, they mention that it's not going to have support for things like the eye tracking, and no support for HDR, no support for the special controllers and things like that. So the point is, it's not going to be like fully supported. So it says, however, other high fidelity and sensory immersion features of PSVR 2 are supported, but the PSVR 2 was designed from the ground up specifically for PS5. So you'll notice that some key features like HDR, headset feedback, eye tracking, adaptive triggers, and haptic feedback other than rumble are not available when playing on PC. Anyway, so not fully, a perfect PC implementation, but especially for people who maybe already have a PSVR 2 and aren't feeling like you're getting a lot of content for that on your PlayStation 5, but you also have a PC, and maybe you didn't have a PC VR headset, maybe this would give you, another use for your PSVR 2. So that's kind of cool. We're also seeing the official announcement for God of War Ragnarok on PC coming September 19th. As with a lot of the PlayStation ports, it seems like it'll be pretty fully featured when it comes to PC stuff that you'd want to see, including FSR, DLSS, and XeSS. One nice thing to see is the version numbers of these, including FSR 3.1. Now, to be clear, when we see things like FSR 3.1 and DLSS 3.7, that does not for sure guarantee frame generation support. This could be talking about the underlying upscaler, because DLSS 3.7 is an upscaler, the newest version of their upscaling. Again, these numberings, I just hate that we've combined two different things, frame generation and upscaling, under the same branding, because they aren't the same thing. And I think that makes this just a lot more confusing for people to talk about and follow, but whatever. But the exciting thing about FSR 3.1 is, first of all, we have not yet seen a game with this. AMD has teased it, but in their tease of FSR 3.1, it seems to be a major upgrade to the fizzling in motion, the ghosting issues that FSR has, which is some of the main complaints about FSR when compared with DLSS upscaling. So I'll be really excited to see once we get this in games. So apparently we'll at least have it by September 19th, because it is officially announced as part of God of War Ragnarok launch. So cool stuff, and I'm hoping that really is a big upgrade to FSR upscaling. Now, a couple other quick notes that you guys may be interested in, which is Baldur's Gate 3's mod tools have entered closed alpha, and the beta will be available in July, and then with a full release in September. So if you're finally burning through all of your extended Baldur's Gate 3 playthroughs, we could start getting a lot more mods available as these tools become more available. So that's cool. And speaking of mods, the fan-made Fallout 2 first-person remake now has over 100 developers working on it and is targeting a Steam release while making fast progress. Apparently, the Steam release could be contingent on making sure all the intellectual property rights work out correctly, because this is basically Fallout 2 reimagined within Fallout 4's mod tools is kind of what this is. So that looks really cool, but I just want to highlight that as one of the cool things about the PC platform is the modding scene and how customizable things are. So good to see a movement on all of that. And actually on that note, I don't think I have the article to pull up here, but NVIDIA did also mention some expansion to their RTX Remix support. But again, didn't remember to pull up the article for this video. Apologies, guys. But anyway, I hope you guys found this video useful and or interesting. Huge thank you to viewers, subscribers, commenters, especially channel members who have clicked the join button to directly support the channel financially. It helps out a ton. Totally understand not everybody's in a position to do that. But hey, if you do, you get the little membership badges on your comments. And as I move into the summer, so I won't be teaching full-time over the summer, I should have more time to get some members behind the scene content and things like that out there and all that as a thank you. Hope everyone has an excellent day.